Hello, everybody, and welcome to the April 2nd meeting of the Node API working group. We're gonna do the usual thing today, but before we do that, if anybody has any announcements, then please share. And if not, then I am going to share my screen. Let's see here. Share screen. Sure, my entire screen. Okay, and then let's have a look at the agenda, assuming the browser will collaborate. Okay, so GitHub. Oh, I haven't signed in. I gotta do that. Just a second. Okay, so here we go. Milestone 11. All right. Renaming API or an API to Node API. Do we have any news on this front? I don't know. Jim is not here today, so don't know if anybody else has done anything on the front. If not, then oh yeah, it's a good idea. Huh. All right. So if not, then let's move on.
Yeah, we have the podcast on Node.js API about these changes, but yeah, we merged both the PR that we made, and yeah, for Node.js API we are okay with the
Excellent.
renaming. Yeah.
So then, do we have a checkbox here? Hello.
Yeah.
There we go.
Yes. Yes. We have a checkbox.
There we go. So can we check it off now?
Yeah.
Excellent. All right. Okay, so having done that, all right, so the blog post, I don't know about you all, I have had zero time this week for this or anything
Yeah.
else.
The
Same
same
there?
for me. Yeah, the same for me. So.
All right. Okay, well, internet isn't the fastest either. Come on, you can do it. Yeah, I'm on my phone because my home internet is really flaky. Okay, well, I did make a few edits here, like, but not much. Go ahead, Kevin.
I'm sorry, I was just saying I have not had any time to look at this.
All right. Well, it's still there. Let's see. Okay, so that was this guy. All right. Stale issues. Have we had any more? No, we haven't. All right. Tracking issues for modules we've noticed are ported. I don't think there's been anything new, but if you, oh wait, oh yeah, this is still the same report from you, Nick. All right. Well, let's see how we're doing then. Oh man, we're still not back to 4 million. What? Huh. All right. Well, it is what it is. They don't have the graph. Strange. Maybe they're updating it or something. Oh no, yes, there it is. Just takes me a while with my internet connection. All right. Well, we're not doing poorly, so that's great. Okay, so get this one. External examples. Nope. I'm afraid. Anybody else? Equally nope.
Nope.
Okay. All right. Yeah, it's been a really busy week, at least for me. Let's see. Debug testing, that's on Michael. We'll wait for him for next week. Module owner issues. Let's see if we have any new ones. Okay.
There has been some discussion on that error throw as JavaScript exception on Node add-on API. Do you remember that
Okay.
one?
Yeah. But I could use some help with the actual issue number.
Yeah, I'll find it.
I think that it's a guess, if I will remember.
Oh, it's a pull request?
I don't think it's a PR. It was an issue. Maybe.
902.
Okay. Yep. All right.
Oh, yeah,
yes.
he had the fix for it. Okay.
Okay. So wait a minute. Fix a crashing issue. All right. Let's see which fix, because unfortunately we have several. Right. Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. This is also Michael's idea. Right. And then the test. Right. Right. Okay. Yeah.
So what we ended up last week saying is that we were going to have a compiler flag, like a define or whatever, to say whether it would remain to have the old behavior of crashing or in the new behavior of swallowing the exception. But if you look now at the conversation, the original poster has some additional discussion at the very bottom.
Yeah.
So I don't know if we want to wait for next week when we have the full team available to discuss this, or not.
Yeah. No, definitely just catching up here. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So, okay.
And this is what I'm trying to guide
Okay.
now.
Yeah, write a message to standard error.
See, and I don't know if that is acceptable.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Because then
But the idea to have this terminating flag is not a bad one because that would give us the opportunity to distinguish. However, I don't know if they intended this terminating to be a static variable or an instance variable, because both options have downsides. If it's a static variable, then it's not thread safe. And if it's an instance variable, then the instance isn't really substantial. Like, we don't have one instance per environment. We just take whatever we get and we rewrap it every time we enter Node add-on API. So this flag will not be preserved across stacks. So that's kind of the problem, right? So yeah.
The environment is not preserved across stacks, you're saying? So then this
No, because like, think about it. when the core calls a callback, right? It gets a what does it get? An API env, and it gets an API callback info, right?
Right.
And so
Yeah.
so when control reaches Node.on API, we simply construct an API env object from
Right.
whatever we get, right? So we don't reuse the same object, because that
Right.
would mean we would have to store it on the environment, right?
Could it be then a flag on the underlying nappy environment we get, nappy end we get?
It could, but that would have to be done in core, because we
Right.
cannot use the instance data anymore, right? It's I could almost say that it's overbooked as it is, you know.
Right.
But yeah, we definitely can't use that.
And then this is going back to then discussing the overarching solution of how to handle
Yes,
termination and everything,
yes,
which is the bigger fix, and not sure how
yes.
to handle.
Yeah, I think, yeah, I honestly think that this needs to be fixed in core, and I think the solution that Michael suggested, which is to have a flag on the environment that you can set during startup that says, I want the more expressive status codes. I think that's the way to go. And then we can go from there and see how the solution evolves. But that is the fundamental runtime ABI stable solution. Like, you opt in at runtime for, like, you're basically saying at runtime, I wish for you to break the old ABI, right? And give me
That
this
makes
new
sense.
ABI, right? Because that means you are ready at runtime to accept the new status codes. So yeah, that's a PR against core, and I haven't had a chance to write it. It shouldn't be too complicated, but it needs to be done. So that's where this is. I don't know. Do we have a pointer here to? Okay, so why don't I just comment to that effect? I wish I could link to the solution. Yeah, it needs to be done in core. Okay, all right, this should be sufficient. Holy cow, what the heck? It's just rendered really strangely for a second there. All right, so we've got that. All right, let's see. Okay, we have a bunch of tests to review. Jack, you've been really productive. Thank you for that. We'll try to get to all of them. Meanwhile, are you stuck on anything? Is there anything that you need help with?
Not particularly stuck, but just like I have just like a question about like how we run our tests. Like when we write
Yep.
something, we like when we write like or making any changes to the test, we run like npm run tests under the root folder to basically run through everything? Like, is there a way to just like selectively like, okay, I just want to run like, let's say like object test suites, or like, or just want to run external tests?
Yeah, no, not easily. No,
Okay.
we don't have a mechanism for that. If you wanna propose one and create one, then by all means, because it
Okay.
would be very useful.
Okay.
But generally, there's no good way except to just have like the things commented out.
Okay.
And so you need to do that in several places, depending. So one step would be to just comment out the list, or comment out parts of the list in like test/index.js, but that
Yeah.
will still cause all the tests that you don't end up running to be built, right?
Yeah.
So the sub objects to be created, and that you may or may not want, right?
Yeah.
Because unfortunately our tests are not orthogonal, especially since all the sub objects are inside the same SO, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes the tests interfere with one another, so you may want to intentionally still build them but not run them. However, if you do not wish to build them either, then you need to comment out all the init this, init that, init the other thing functions and the calls to them, and then then they won't even get built.
Okay.
Oh, and as if that's not enough, if you do not wish to, because they will still get compiled, but they will get sort of not linked because they're not being called from anywhere, right? So
Yeah.
so like if you comment out the inits, you're still building all the files, and then the linker says, nope, don't want you, don't want you, don't want you. So that's kind of a waste of cycles, right? So then the third step you need to do is to do the same thing in bindings.jip, and then and only then will you have the tests that you want and nothing else. So yeah, it's not super simple. I don't know if you can capture this level of granularity with any sort of scripting mechanism, but you could with like environment variables and like even npm config. Like for example, you could do like npm test minus minus and then a list of tests, right? And then you could write a script that creates a bunch of like npm config variables, which you can check from binding jip, and then have like a myriad conditions, one for each test, that says sources equals whatever it was plus this source. So it's possible. And if you feel there's value in it, then please by all means have a look at it, because it would be useful, I think, in many cases.
Okay.
One thing that I also wanted to mention is that sometimes you can just run the specific JavaScript file inside the test directory. So that
and run it with -- expose GC just in case, because some of them make use of the garbage collector explicitly. Yes, that's a great idea.
Yeah, but of course it'll still build all of the C stuff, but it'll only run
and it'll still initialize all the C stuff. Yeah, so that's the simplest solution. If you find that building the rest of the tests is not an issue, and it still leaves the one that you're working on reproducible.
Okay.
So yeah, this is the gamut of choices before you.
Okay, sure. I'll take a look at it and like let you guys know.
All right. Okay, so issues.
Yeah, I have one. I don't remember the number. Sorry, I'm searching now. Okay, 907. It's an issue. Yeah, it's about the next release. Michael proposed to create two new release. The last three .x release for the for April before the end of life on Node.js 8. And yeah, then the new release in May, yeah, where we removed the support for Node.js 8. So I want to know what we need to keep in the release 3, and what we need to remove in 4.
That's a good question. Let me just double check. So let's see here. I mean, are we gonna make 4 like a breaking release? I mean, yes, it's ever major, but it does not necessarily need to break anything. Like, do we have any sort of pending things? I mean, we can always look at the deprecated stuff, right? Right. So these accessors. Yeah, okay. These accessors that have memory leaks. Yeah, I guess this is a good candidate, right? Because I mean, all of these leak memory intentionally, kind of. So this would be like for any given major release, just removing an API in null deprecated is good. But let me see.
Would we need to make a release saying that we will remove it? Or is the fact that we say that it is deprecated enough to give people enough warning? Because it's been deprecated for, I don't know, long time. But yeah. I believe it is still being used because I vaguely remember an issue that Tobias created recently to update the documentation on those, because there was the line that was ambiguous to say that it was a memory leak, saying which one is a memory leak. So if people are still using this, I don't know if it's worth, and that I don't even know if that means he's still using it. Maybe he's just looking at the docs. I don't know. But if we have to give an explicit warning to say this is being removed, or is the deprecation fact enough for Semver to say that we'll remove it at 4? Is my question then.
Yeah.
And then I guess we can decide for the error exception thrown fix, whether that should that in, because I'm not sure if there's any other PRs or things that are waiting off the top of my head. Let me check.
When you're talking about the exception, are you talking about like the ref the ref issues with the environment shutdown, or the final solution to whether we should throw an exception when the environment is tearing down, or both? Okay, are y'all still there? Okay, you're still there.
I was muted. Sorry.
Okay, yes. No worries.
The question was more like the PR that we just discussed, which has we decided in there that whether we want to have a compilation flag, whether to use the old behavior and new behavior, should that go into both of these or just 4.0? Do you understand the question? Am I asking that right?
But I think that if we have a flag and the developer can decide what they want to use, it's reasonable for me have these in both, in 3 and in 4. So. because it's a feature that you enable or not for me.
Okay. So then, okay, I can try working on that solution then, and hopefully we can get this done by to have it out for both of those. Then that makes sense. Sorry, I'm kind of talking about two different things. There's the nappy deprecated, and then this the 902 fix.
That if that should be 906 the issue that refers to the 9. I don't know, because Michael in this issue set the issue 906 before as requirements to create the new release. So I don't know what is the 906. Yeah, intermittent failure intrinsic function.
Oh, yeah. Right. Yeah. It's interesting. I I ran I ran I think against the latest Node.js, and I haven't seen a single failure, but I have seen a hang in async progress worker. So if you just run node test in a loop, like while true semicolon do npm test semicolon done, like from the command line, then sooner or later it will hang. So we do have, and so that hang also happened on the CI when I was trying to land one of the PRs, and I had to restart the job. I had to stop the job and restart the job because it hung. So so yeah, we do have an issue, and it is with thread safe function, because I believe async progress worker is implemented using thread safe function. So
Yeah.
I'm assuming it's in the way the thread safe function is used rather than in the way it is written. But we would have to be able to tell for sure, because I mean there may well have to be a fix in core, if not in an API, in Node add-on API alone. So yeah, I haven't gotten to the bottom of that yet, except to reproduce the hangage. So my next step, if and when I have time for it, will be to just add like printfs to all the core functions when they enter, when they exit, and then hope that the act of adding the printfs doesn't change the timing in such a way that it doesn't happen anymore. So because these deadlocks, they tend to be like Heisenberg bugs. You look at them, they disappear. So this is my plan, but like I said, I haven't had much time to work on it. It was sitting here in a terminal for the longest time, being interrupted or being hung. But yeah, that's where that's at. So, but I mean, here it's talking about crashes, right? So, like I'm not 100% sure if any of these are fixed. It looked to me that they were fixed, because I didn't see any crashes when I ran with like the branch of core where we have all the ref fixes, which I think is master and soon to be 14. Though I don't know if Lucas had a chance to take a look at the branch, but we'll get to that later. So yeah, it might be worth continuing this discussion before we decide what to put and what not to put in a release. But yeah, let me mention that in here. There we go. Okay. anything else related to releases? Because it's good to record everything here, and then we'll have guidance for how and when to release. If y'all are still there, okay, looks like you are.
I think that's
Yeah,
it.
no, I don't have any other things about
Okay, good.
race. Yeah.
Okay, good. Then let's leave it at this for now. Very strange how it misrenders before it submits.
Yeah.
And the winner is, come on. There we go. All right. So okay. So then that was the release issue. Shall we move
And
to? Oh, go ahead.
there is a 956.
Say again.
956.
Okay. Okay. No. Okay. While we're young.
Sorry, Gabriel, I can't see the issue on. Okay, the issue is on Node.js API 9.9.5.6. Yes. Oh, okay. I didn't understand what he wants.
So from my understanding here is that he has both, like the child and parent class are both C++ classes.
Oh, this one. And C++.
So like
Oh,
my
229
thought
issue.
is like he wants to have some way
Yep.
to maybe object wrap and inherit or something, but or like this specifically. Because I had originally thought it was like, oh, maybe he wants to inherit from the JavaScript side, which was going back to how you created that an API defined subclass or whatever. But that's a different use case than this here, I think.
Well, okay, this tells me that they're doing improper inheritance, meaning meaning that they are doing nappy defined class for the superclass and the same thing for the subclass, and they are expecting that a call to the JavaScript to a JavaScript object will pass through to the subclass, right? But the this value ends up being an instance of the superclass, and because on the native side they are not related, you get an illegal invocation. This is a V8 specific issue, right? This illegal invocation, because both classes, you know, the advantage here with this one, where both classes are C++, is that if you could call V8 directly, then you could then you would have access to both what is that, function templates, right? Because both classes are defined using using V8 ultimately via an API, and so then you know it would be possible to do the inheritance here, because we do have access at some point to the function template.
Right.
So this is the special case where you define the class in using Node API, right? And so technically you could attach the function template as a persistent to the constructor, right? Using a private field on the constructor. And so then when you try to mark them as being as one inheriting from the other, then you can retrieve that function template, right? but I don't remember anymore whether it's even possible to store a function template inside a persistent in V8, first of all, and second of all, I don't remember if it's possible to perform the inheritance after you've retrieved the constructor. So when you've instantiated the constructor afterwards, it may not allow you to do that. So in that case, it's kind of impossible because you have to return the constructor before the person can call the inherit. So that's where that stands. Yeah, the other possibility, now that I think about it, is to have something like Node API define class hierarchy, where you pass in a whole bunch of constructors and a whole bunch of property descriptors, and it just creates a whole hierarchy for you, you know, and then you basically pass in a really big structure, and it sort of visits the structure, and it just creates all the classes. That would be another possibility. Either way, this would have to be done in core. And that obviously, you know, wouldn't take care of the attempt to subclass a JavaScript class that was defined in JavaScript. That just wouldn't work. But it seems like there might be enough demand for creating native backed class hierarchies that we might want to do this. So yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe we should
The way
transfer
that
this to
I
core.
ended up having like a workaround was in my C++ native parent class, I like exported some std array or something like that. And then in the child class, I was able to use std forward to extend that array of the property descriptors in the child class.
Yeah.
So then I was still only creating one class
On
that
the
was the
JavaScript
child
side.
class. Yeah, on the
Yeah.
C++ side. But it would be
yeah.
great if there was some way to have that already be hierarchical or something.
Yeah. Right. What is this? This. Aha, somebody's already filed it. Okay. To map the inheritance. Okay. Okay. How about that? But it's, I think
That's
it's
a good one.
captured.
Good. That's good.
I think it gives the right idea to folks. Hierarchy. There we go. All right. Yeah. Well, here's another to do for anyone who's interested. Yeah. So that's two rather large to do so far. One is the status buy-in, right, in the proper statuses, and then this is the second one. Okay.
While we're here, there's another issue in core that was opened recently. 38040.
Huh.
And I feel like I vaguely remember some issues where we've talked about second pass callback being called, and when we're having to release a weak ref or something like that. I don't know if these two are related. Just throwing that out.
Ooh, yeah. Other times with a sec fault. Ay, 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 ay. Okay. Pointer being freed was not allocated. It looks like it might be a double free. So, but process. Okay, so here, that's interesting. Like, so it's strange that this is the innermost frame. Like you would think it dies somewhere in finalize, but it doesn't even get to finalize. So then what that means is that we're attempting to dereference this data get parameter, but that is already freed. So that sounds like a double free. That sounds like a double free. Yet another one. Holy cow. Ay, ay, ay. Man, these references. they just keep on giving, you know, grief for that matter. Okay, all right. Well, yes, yet another thing to look at. All right. Okay, let's add Node API to this because it is Node API. So we have this track properly. Yeah, and it's fun that it's like on an ARM Mac. It's gonna be fun to reproduce. What with the hordes of ARM Macs in my back pocket that I have. You know. Yeah. So yeah, maybe we can request access to one of the CI machines because that is a process that we have if we don't have any ARM Macs at our disposal. But yeah, okay. Thanks for bringing that up. I don't know if there's anything we can do about this immediately, other than to test with. Well, he doesn't know on which branch it happens. So step 0 would be to see this, to check which branch. I don't know when it started exactly. Okay, so I guess it's probably on master then because he doesn't know when it started, but it is there now. So then it sounds like it's on master. So it's a good chance that it started when we landed those reference fixes. Yeah, which makes me wonder why. Oh, wait a minute. We are. Well, we okay. So I don't see why. You know what? It could be. It could be that our worst fears have come true, right? Like remember when we were landing that final fix, we said that we trust that if we remove the weak callback when it's already queued, then V8 will do the right thing and remove the weak callback from the queue. Otherwise, we need to use yet another flag. V8 may not be removing the weak callback from the queue, right? Because if we assume that it has removed the weak callback from the queue, then later on this second pass callback happens, and we already destroyed the reference using environment teardown. Oh, let me write this down before we forget. But before I do that, I need to go to node git log. Wait, git branch. What am I on here? Oh, that's a backport. Check out. Wait, git diff. Am I blowing anything away? No, git checkout master. Hello, git log. Stop ref gc during environment teardown. No, it's the one that comes after, right? Or wait, that was, yeah, no, it's this one. 37236. What the hey? Here. Oh, that's the PR. I'm sorry, that's the issue, not the PR. Let me go back to the terminal. PR URL, copy link address. Right. Yeah, okay, this is what I wanted to link to. How do you link to this thing, this comment? There. Right. Okay. Okay. This may be an indication that the weak callback once queued is not, well, that V8 is not removing the weak callback once queued, even though we are calling clear weak from the environment tear down induced finalization loop. We may want to consider the alternative solution mentioned in here to see if that prevents this problem. Okay. All right. Okay. That's the best we can do for now. Is to put this on our plate as well. Try the other solution, see if that causes these intermittent failures. But we'd have to do a bisect just in case to see that it was indeed this PR that was causing the issue. Well, this plus Michael's, because Michael refined this a couple of commits later. So that whole chain of two commits may need to be looked at. I think Michael's remains valid, in that you don't remove it if it's not weak. But then again, if we don't trust V8 at all, then we wouldn't even try to clear weak at all. So then we'll see. But either way, we may need to go for the alternative. Let's talk about this next week with Michael as well, because he has a pretty good grasp of references as well. So we can, more eyes see more. Okay. All right. So any other issues, because we're approaching the time for today. So I think maybe if there are any more issues in the repos, then we should talk about them. Otherwise, we can close out.
I have nothing.
All right.
Um,
Okay, all good then?
Yep.
yeah.
All right. So in that case, I'm going to stop sharing and I'm going to say thank you everybody for attending, and we will speak again next week. Have a good weekend, everybody.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.